join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo and your text messages on 365 3346. Remember, we have two ears and one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
To hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest authorities insisted on its being received for good or for evil, in the superlative degree of comparison only.
They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Alright. Looking at the world today, I am implored to say, so much war and poverty, while few enjoy prosperity. They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Alright. Looking at the world, I agree. Oh, what fools we mortals be. Morality is in demise. Immorality is on the rise. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Too much injustice. How can there be peace? Religious hypocrisy, political tyranny. You see it, my brethren. What about the children now? Hey, they said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Crime and violence, poverty and starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability. What's wrong with humanity? Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity? But the love now, you know that we need it, yeah. What about the love?
2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the 22nd day of the 7th month of 2021, the International Year of Peace and Trust, the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, and the International Year of Health and Care Workers. Put another way, it's the 22nd day of the 2nd month of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. And according to the regional weather report, there's an area of low pressure across Panama and a high pressure ridge across the Gulf of Mexico. Closer to home, there's a trough across Jamaica and a low-level jet stream across the region. That's the narrow band of fast-flowing wind in the lower levels of the atmosphere. The rest of this afternoon, expect isolated showers and thunderstorms across hilly inland areas and western parishes. Otherwise, partly cloudy and windy. The birthday of King Sobusa II is being celebrated in Swaziland. It's Liberation Day in the Gambia, National Tree Planting Day in the Central African Republic, and People's Uprising Day in Slovenia. It's National Nurses Week 2021. Hoy es jueves el 22 de julio 2021. Y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos.
For the sake of vanity. But the love now. You know that we need it, yeah. What about the love?
C'est jeudi le 22 juillet 2021 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
While few enjoy prosperity, they say the world is spinning.
All we're saying is it's Thursday, the 22nd of July, 2021, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices, and that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Too much injustice. How can there be peace? Religious hypocrisy, political tyranny. You see it, my brethren. What about the children now? Hey, they say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability. What's wrong with humanity? Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity?
Good afternoon to those listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you can download, assuming you haven't yet downloaded it. You can go to the Google Play Store or the App Store to download the Power 106 FM app. Listening is free. Downloading is free whenever, wherever. We thank you if you've logged on to the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Subscribers to onespotmedia.com also have access to Both Sides of the Story in particular and Power 106 FM in general. We thank those who have found other ways and means of listening to us. Hello to you if you're watching us on Facebook Live via the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you'll be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. But if you don't have a Facebook account, there's always YouTube. All you need is a device and internet connection. And in the search box, type YouTube. The website will come up. If you do that now, you should see this video trending. If you're not seeing it, then in the YouTube search box, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you'll be able to watch Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. We started out this afternoon with that timeless piece by Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. And we combined that with Jimmy Cliff's World Upside Down. World Upside Down. It sure feels that way. and has felt that way for some time now. And who knows what the future holds from, or what it portends from what we have been hearing so far, and keeping a close watch to see how things will unfold going forward. We know what we need to do. Let's do what we need to do to ensure that the fallout is as minimal as possible. Welcome to Norman Hines out of St. Thomas. He says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan, Malcolm, and listeners here listening straight out of St. Thomas, Jamaica. Good to have you on board, Norman Hines. Tristan C. Simpson, hello to you too. Welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Melinda Grant says, good afternoon. A blessed Thursday to you, Mr. Malcolm. To you too, Melinda. Jennifer Stewart from Q Road in Kencott, East Central St. Andrew. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for tuning in. Audrey Smith in Southampton in England says, good afternoon, Dervan and listeners watching and listening from a very humid Southampton. Take care, everyone. And you do the same, Audrey Smith in Southampton in the UK. Faye Weller, blessed afternoon, Mr. Dervan and listeners. Stay safe and trust God, she says. Thank you, Faye Weller. Jeannie Chambers, good afternoon to you too. Thank you for joining us. Alison Daly, welcome. Blessed afternoon to you too. Greetings to Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. Good to have you on board. Big up to you too, Ricardo. Keep those messages coming in. Keep those comments coming in. Special afternoon to a Jamaican who continues to work. There's a feeling that when you are retired, you are retired. Some people think you should really just enjoy your retirement and all the very best. But there are some of us, for the most part, when you've become accustomed to serving or working or doing, it's a little hard to try now to convince us to just sit down, don't do anything, relax. This is it. This is retirement. Well, there's a gentleman who is supposed to be retired, but he is still very active, very, very active, and playing his part in the fight against COVID-19 as well in Canada, more specifically in the province of Ontario, and more precisely in the city of Toronto and the greater Toronto area. And we want to use this opportunity to say a special afternoon to Dr. Sylvanus Thompson. Good afternoon, Dr. Sylvanus Thompson, as retired Associate Director of Healthy Environments in the city of Toronto, Canada. Always a pleasure to connect with Dr. Thompson and your colleagues, Dr. Scarlett and Campbell. Good afternoon as well, and all the very best. And we'll say a little more, perhaps a little later on. But it's always good to be able to connect with and just keep relationships going across the borders of Jamaica and beyond. And everybody knows by now that there are no more borders, quite frankly. This is a borderless world, and that's why COVID-19 can spread so rapidly and is still spreading, and in particular the Delta variant. That's the idea. The world has long become one big village, and nobody escapes anything. It's inescapable. When you have a situation like you have right now, it is inescapable. Everybody is being impacted one way or another, and we're encouraged by the fact that we have a lot of committed Jamaicans at home and abroad who are playing their part right now. They're still playing their part. For example, Dr. Thompson and his team from the Jamaican Canadian Association, they have another vaccination. What do you call it? Their own blitz, or I don't think that's what they call it though. But that's coming up this weekend. In fact, where they make it into an event, not a super spreader event, but a smartly organized, operated, executed event where you feel like you're in a fun place, even as you're further securing your health through vaccination. And that's happening at the Jamaican Canadian Association at what's the address again? 995 Arrow Road in Toronto, Canada. Good afternoon to Lynn Bailey. Hello to you. Lynn Bailey says, pleasant afternoon to you and your listeners and viewers worldwide. Looking forward to your usually informative program, watching and listening from New Kingston, Jamaica. Always good to have you on board here on YouTube. Lynn Bailey, thank you for tuning in. Vioris Darby, good afternoon to you too. Blessings on your program. Beautiful afternoon. Thank you very much, Vioris Darby. Rose McIntosh in London, greetings to you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for being a part of the experience here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Just before we get into our first interactive session coming up at 2:30 with a couple of our guests scheduled for this afternoon, wanted to, just in case you perhaps have been very busy all day, caught up with work and whatever else you have to do, and you want to get a quick update on what's been happening since the last time you checked. Partially burnt body of Portland woman found with chop wounds is a story on the Gleaners online platform. The partially burnt body of 60-year-old farmer Cynthia Hines was found with chop wounds at her farm in St. Margaret's Bay, Portland this morning. Police investigators are now processing the scene. The discovery was made by a passerby shortly after 8 this morning. It's further reported that Hines's feet and hands were oh my goodness. I don't think we want to read any more of this. Jeez. What? This is barbaric. This is barbaric. And we hope and pray and trust that the security services will do what they need to do to bring the guilty to justice. When did we get to this place? Jeez. Horrific. Terribly horrific. If you can have such a combination. That's the main story that is trending right now on the Gleaners online platform. Also, there's an investigation underway to determine the cause of fire at Hydel. If you missed it, the Jamaica Fire Brigade is investigating the cause of this morning's blaze that damaged the administrative building at the Hydel group of schools in Ferry, St. Catherine. The investigation is also to determine the cost of damage. The fire started just after 7 o'clock, and units from the York Park, Trenchtown, Spanish Town, and Portmore fire stations responded to the blaze. The fire was brought under control before it could spread to other areas of the compound. No one was injured in the blaze. And there's something to be said about these dry times, hot and humid, and some of the things we really shouldn't do. You're likely to have some amount of combustion at some point or another, but geez, it is really, really piping hot. It's oppressively hot. But so it is. It is summer, and summer is supposed to be hot. But then those of us who have experienced a few summers can attest to the fact that it's as if it gets hotter every summer. That's the general feeling. Also, in the news, Tokyo new virus cases near 2,000 a day before Olympics open. And the Olympics will open tomorrow, Jamaica time. They're 14 hours ahead of us in Japan. And our athletes have been arriving in Japan as scheduled. Coming back home, 4 additional COVID-19 deaths, 138 new cases. And condolences to the family, members, friends, colleagues of those who have died. A 57-year-old man from St. James, a 75-year-old male also from St. James, a 72-year-old woman from St. James whose death was previously under investigation, a 64-year-old man from the corporate area. 2 more cases have been recorded as coincidental deaths, increasing the tally to 162. That's just a quick look at the latest numbers, but we have to be on our guard because the Delta variant is a clear and present danger. Apart from COVID-19, the original COVID-19 itself, this particular variant, as we say in Jamaican terms, don't have no behavior, this Delta variant. So be mindful, and it's not time to let down our guard, but for us to be as vigilant and careful as possible.
Just hypocrisy, political tyranny. You see it, my brethren.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
You asked, we listened. You said you wanted back the additional hour. Dear Pastor returns to its usual time from 10 p.m. until midnight.
Oh boy,
Your thoughts on topical issues, relationship matters, questions you want answered, pertinent advice. It all comes together on Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas.
Hello.
Hello, Pastor.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Where you may ask me a question, I may or may not answer.
He returns to keep your company from 10 p.m. until midnight, right here on Power 106 FM.
So much war and poverty, while few enjoy prosperity. They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Alright. Looking at the world, I agree. Oh, what fools we mortals be. Morality is in demise. Immorality is on the rise. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Too much injustice. How can there be peace? Religious hypocrisy. Political tyranny. You see it, my brethren. What about the children now? Hey, they say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon to Junior Jabari. He says, good afternoon, Dervan. The second one-day international between West Indies and Australia has been postponed because of a non-playing member of the West Indies being tested positive for COVID-19. And thanks for that update, Junior Jabari. And we need to be, for those who follow cricket, yeah, but also the information that we're seeing here has to do with, well, the start of today's match has been delayed. A frustrating scenario, says Cricinfo, for everyone involved in trying to make this series happen, as well as the fans following along at home. But hopefully all other PCR tests from the West Indies and Australia squads come back negative. Be sure to stay logged on, says Cricinfo, for the next 24 hours for all the latest developments. So the second CG Insurance One International between West Indies and Australia has been postponed due to a positive COVID-19 test result from a non-playing member of the West Indies staff. The decision was taken after the toss at Kensington Oval once the result was known. So that's how this virus operates. Yes, you can continue with certain activities, but the slightest slip up and we are in a situation where there has to be some adjustments or tightening of procedures and protocols, etc. Well, let's get an update on the Jehovah's Witnesses, the movement, not just here in Jamaica, but globally. But more precisely, we've been, I think the last time I'm trying to remember the last update we got in terms of the work of the witnesses and the ways in which the pandemic has brought out the best in everyone in terms of ideas and ways of engaging even more people, perhaps even more often. And so Robert Hendricks and Peter Scudamore are joining us to give us the very latest. Hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Malcolm. It's nice to be here again.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good to be with you.
Pleasure. Thank you both. And you've come back even stronger. The theme for your convention, Powerful by Faith. Robert Hendricks, would you like to give us an idea of how you see that theme manifesting itself?
It's a beautiful theme. It's one that really resonates with people right now, because even just your last report about the match that has to be canceled, the player that can't play, and as a result of COVID-19, we have had one surprise after another. I don't think any of us could have imagined 2 years ago being in a situation where everything now is tied to this virus. But what we wanted to do as an organization was, even though we love our in-person conventions, we have 6,000 of them in 240 lands typically, we thought, instead of trying to mitigate the risk and worry about infection and perhaps put people at risk, we wanted to eliminate the risk. And so we went to a virtual platform, and it's no small task, because going to a virtual platform for Jehovah's Witnesses means putting this virtual convention in nearly 5 or more than 500 languages, 100 sign languages, and also voiceovers for all this translating, and voice descriptions for the blind. So this convention is amazing, and being that it's talking about faith and the power of faith, it helps remind us what has gotten us through the last 16, 17 months, and what is going to help us to see the light at the end of the tunnel. As we look beyond this disease, there is life beyond this pandemic, and that life includes a powerful faith in a creator, and a fellowship with our fellow worshipers who have the same faith as us. And so as we think about this convention and what it's, the effect that it's having on the world, we're just so thankful to have these 6 installments from, and it's all available for free on jw.org, to have these 6 installments that continue to build our faith with every single installment that we have.
And so it's happening now then, Peter Scudamore, isn't it?
Yes, Dervan, it is happening right now. As Robert mentioned, the convention program comes out in 6 installments.
Yes.
So the Friday program, those installments have already come out Friday morning, Friday afternoon, and really wonderful content. The Friday afternoon one has really gotten a lot of traction. There's a symposium there, Use Creation to Build Your Faith, and it looks at the universe, the stars, it looks at the oceans, the forests, sea creatures, even our own bodies, and really relate that to our Creator and how it builds our faith. You know, those videos are very outstanding. I can recommend that to you. But for this weekend now, if you go to jw.org, you can download the program, and there are many other ways that Robert will probably give us a few more details as to how we can get the program.
Please help us in that regard, Robert, for those who will be logging on to jw.org.
Well, it's interesting that it is broken up into 3 different days. And it's because typically in Jamaica, we would have about a dozen, if not 15 conventions over the course of the summer. That would be 3-day conventions. So they would be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so that's how we plan these conventions. But on a virtual level, we've broken them up into 6 different installments that relate to the morning and afternoon sessions. So the last 2 were the Friday morning, Friday afternoon session. The one that is available now and that our congregations will be viewing this weekend is the Saturday morning session. And what's powerful about that, because many people say, well, what if you're not a Jehovah's Witness or if you're not a person of faith, what do you have to offer? And it's interesting that the morning starts off with a group of talks. We call it a symposium entitled Faithless People Can Acquire Faith. It says, remember, faithless people can acquire faith. Now that's interesting, because being called faithless, is that a put down? No, it's not, because our faith has been challenged in this world. We're really, if you look at the world, we're going through a crisis of faith. And so it lists those, even Jesus' fleshly brothers, before he died, didn't put faith in him. The Bible says that very clearly. Prominent ones didn't put faith in him. Non-religious people didn't put faith in him, and many don't today. But all of those, we're going to show examples of all of those groups who did change their thinking. Even the Ninevites of old, when Jonah went and prophesied to them, they changed into people of faith. And so not only is this for those who have faith, but it's for all of us whose faith has been challenged during this period of time, and even for those who are looking for a place to put some faith in. Because faith isn't just credulity. It's not just, believing something because we say it. It's giving strong evidence as to why you should believe something. And that's what this convention does for all of us. It rekindles our faith and reminds us why we are people of faith.
And how do you see the benefit of a global convention of this nature? Is it from the standpoint of people being able to see and hear from others and their experiences, and to make the biblical connection as well? What's the Peter Scudamore, give us a sense of how you see, because you've been experiencing this as well. How do you see, and how do you hope that is this what you hope will happen when we log on to jw.org, that we will see that we are not alone?
Yes, I very much so. As Robert had mentioned, and even some of what you were saying before. We're really in a crisis situation here. There are many things that are happening that really challenge our faith. You know, our faith in so many institutions have been shattered to some extent and or shaken. When we have a program like this globally, it serves to unite us in faith, which is so different because in the world, a lot of the times it's characterized by division. But here now, we are all coming together here in the Caribbean, in the US, in Africa, in Asia, Australia, South America, and we are all benefiting from this powerful by faith convention, which is helping us to cope with the problems now and giving us hope for the future. So yes, it will unite us in this common bond here.
And Robert Hendricks.
Beautiful thought. Yeah. I was just saying.
Sorry, go ahead.
Beautiful thought that Peter just brought out that we have so much division in this world, but this can unite us. It's an interesting feeling when you sit down, and we've done this now. This is our second year doing this. You sit down and you're watching this convention, and you know that millions around the world are doing the same thing at the very same time, watching the very same thing in their language, and it is even just in your heart, and you feel connected to them. And it's interesting that in some of our congregations, many in Jamaica, the friends, they don't want to get off Zoom, so that they can get on their own platform. They can actually download it on their device, on JW Library, on their phone, on their TV, JW Broadcasting, on their computer, jw.org. But some of them want to stay on with the congregation and experience it together as a congregation. And that's what they're doing. And it's a beautiful thing because it just brings fellowship into the occasion of being spiritually nourished. And I'm so encouraged by it.
Let's talk some more after the break. Please, listeners, Robert Hendricks and Peter Scudamore of the Jehovah's Witness faith here in Jamaica and indeed the region, keeping us plugged in to how people are being empowered, lives are being changed, people are getting this, are deepening their faith in a time of in a number of instances, seeming faithlessness, people just questioning their faith. And yeah, it's a lot. And if you can get some help to manage and understand and arrive at a better place, then this world will indeed be a better place. One moment, please.
All right.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Hey, you see these days, it's good to get straight to the point. Quick and easy. That's why Western Union gives you another way to receive money straight to your bank account with Western Union's direct-to-bank money transfer. Visit a Western Union agent location and sign up now. And tell your family and friends to send your next Western Union money transfer directly to your bank account in Jamaica. It's easy. Visit a Western Union location or call our call center at 876-926-2454. Sign up today to receive a money transfer directly to your bank account with ease with Western Union. Moving money for better.
Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call Wednesday evenings on Power 106 FM with Powering Your Health. Make your appointment. We will explore a variety of health issues and the ways to combat them. Let's talk about dieting, eating on a budget, alternative medicine, modern medical breakthroughs, mental health and wellness, and more. That's Powering Your Health with Dr. Jackie Campbell, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM. A fresh perspective on matters affecting your overall health and well-being.
Political tyranny, you see it, my brethren. What about the children now? Hey.
Jimmy Cliff, I said the world is spinning. They said the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. That's Jimmy Cliff's interpretation. Not since COVID-19, long before COVID-19 that song was recorded. But it does feel that way, doesn't it? At times that we're just spinning and spinning and spinning, or worse yet, we're upside down. But there is a central force and source that when we do find that place, things become clearer. We're using the opportunity to preview for you and to direct your attention to Powerful by Faith, the 2021 Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses. And they're having their Friday sessions, Saturday sessions, Sunday sessions. And we're going to hear a little more right now, thanks to Peter Scudamore and Robert Hendricks. Robert Hendricks, I'm sure you don't want anyone to be left behind. You're reaching families, and that means when you talk about a family, you're essentially talking about everybody. How do you structure this virtual 3-day convention to achieve your objectives?
Well,
and to ensure that no one is left behind, that everybody can follow and find their space, their place within this whole experience?
You know, this is a great way right here what we're doing, because the convention is available. It's free. It's online, jw.org. It's available in every nation. It's available in nearly every language that you could ever imagine, more than 500. It's available in Jamaican Sign Language, in Jamaican Creole, as well as English. And it's available now for everyone. So we have to get the word out. And we have to have folks really feel like this is relevant to me. And it is. You know, as an example, on Sunday morning, we have a beautiful symposium, a group of talks on women of faith, people like Sarah, Abraham's wife, Rahab, Hannah, who was the mother of Samuel, Mary, the mother of Jesus, Martha, and modern day examples as well. We're spending an entire morning almost just talking about how women of faith can benefit all of us, can inspire a person like me, even though we're not from the same background, even though we're I'm a man, that I can learn, and I do learn from these examples. So you think about the feature film that we have on Daniel and his life, and how even as a boy he was faithful to his Creator and faithful to his roots as an Israelite. And as a prophet in under several different governments, and through difficulties and tribulation, he remained faithful. And so all of these examples can inspire each one of us, because it helps us to see that no matter what's going on around us, whether that's a pandemic or something that is affecting us personally in our own home, that faith is something that can get us through. It's got the power to help us see beyond the trouble, beyond the crisis, and to the solution. And that's the power of this convention.
And what is quite evident, gentlemen, is that there are no barriers, no borders. You, for example, you're looking at your website and you're seeing no login or registration required. You're trying to make it, your offerings as accessible as possible. Which makes sense. It makes sense, and so, for example, for someone who would like to be a part of the experience, and some people are averse to signing up and this kind of thing, it's wide open for all to see, and that says a lot about the all-inclusive nature of the Jehovah's Witnesses faith. Wouldn't you say, Peter Scudamore?
Definitely. The website, as you say, is wide open. Nothing is required. You can get on all of this marvelous content. You can download it from jw.org. You can download the JW Library app for free on Android or Apple, which allows you to get all of these things. It's on Apple TV, Roku, So, whatever you have, you can access it. And the program is structured to benefit all in the family, as you say. They can have something to take away and really be encouraged by it. So we encourage as many as possible to download. And then the beauty with it is that when they do that, if there's a particular part of the program that they have enjoyed, they'll have it on their device, and then they can re-watch it and benefit from it. Especially in these times, with violence and things like that going on. There's a symposium, Imitate the Faithful, Not the Faithless. And we see Enoch. He was living at a time of unprecedented violence. And we'll contrast how he lived as a man of faith, relying on God, in contrast to Lamech. So there's a lot in here that benefits us in our times.
Has the online convention been the main way in which these messages are transmitted, or are you still able to have your meetings taking into account COVID-19 protocols?
Well, around the world, we have shut all of our kingdom halls, and so they're not open for public meetings right now. And they haven't been since about April of 2020, some much earlier than that. And we have really done well, I have to say, in bringing folks together in a virtual format through Zoom. Zoom has helped us in most of our lands. Zoom has helped us because 80% of our meetings are discussion based. And so there is fellowship. We do have breakout rooms. We do have discussions, and it's wonderful. And in fact, each weekend, so this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, each congregation on Jamaica will get together. They'll have a 30-minute discussion together on Zoom. Some will stay on for the convention. Others will log off and then log on to the convention in the privacy of their own home and the safety of their own home. And so it's wonderful. And again, as you said, Dervan, this is free. This is the way Jesus meant it to be. When he sent out his 12 disciples to his apostles and trained them for the ministry, he sent them out, and this is what he said in Matthew 10:8. He said, "You received free, give free." And so that's why there's never been a collection plate at a congregation meeting of Jehovah's Witnesses or an assembly or convention. And there isn't a paywall for any of this content, because we need to give free to the world and get it into as many minds and hearts as we can. And so a local person can actually go onto the website, jw.org, scroll down, look for a local congregation in their own area, get a contact number, and actually join the congregation virtually for that 30-minute discussion, and then stay on with them if they'd like for that Zoom convention. So we're really excited about the fact that we've been able to really wrap our arms around so many more in our communities.
And at the end of it, for you, Peter Scudamore, what is your hope for all those who will log on to jw.org and experience the discussions, the multimedia presentations, for example, the feature Bible drama, Daniel, etc. What do you hope people will come away with after having experienced Powerful by Faith, this 2021 Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses?
Well, what I'm hoping that persons will come away from is just to reconnect with God, reconnect with Jehovah, and have their faith strengthened. In a lot of what is happening, some could feel that our Creator is disconnected from us, or why is what is happening? But this convention explains that. It gives us hope. It helps us to cope with the present day challenges, and gives us a sure vision of what the future prospects are. that it's not always going to be like this. There is something better, and this will really help us to live better lives now as we apply Bible principles, even as we wait for the blessings of the kingdom in the future.
And for you, Robert Hendricks?
Well, I really do hope, just as Peter said, that this rekindles in our hearts, all of us, the faith that the bedrock of our faith, and gets us through these next few months and years to the other side of this pandemic. But more than that, I hope that people see this information as they are comforted by it as a way to reconnect with God's word as well. Many have not put faith in God's word, the Bible. The scriptures have been put away as if it's a book to collect dust. But as they experience this convention, they're going to see how practical the Bible is, how practical the faith, the examples are in the Bible, and how it can make us a better person, a better father, mother, sister, brother, even employee. And if somebody connects a practical solution in their lives to the Bible, they're more willing to use it and stay with it. And so well after this convention, we hope that this has an effect on people's lives for years and years to come. Maybe in some cases is even life-changing.
Finally, remind us, I know it's very simple, very easy to remember, jw.org. When for somebody just tuning in, when can they log on? What will they experience? And for how long?
Yes, they can log on to jw.org right now as we're speaking. The convention that we'll stream this weekend in our congregations in Jamaica is available for download and streaming right now. They can also sample the beautiful original song called Eyes of Faith that will just bring tears to your eyes as well on the website. They can download the program, and they can look at the first two installments, the Friday installments of our convention as well. So they can start from the beginning or start in the middle, wherever they want. It's free. There's no paywall, and all you have to do is make time for it, and we encourage folks to do that.
Well, we thank you for continuing in the service that you have been delivering all these many years. And we trust that all those who visit jw.org will be inspired and will be empowered and will feel a greater sense of hope. We have no doubt they will. Thank you both very much, gentlemen, and we look forward to the next installment. This is coming quite a frequent and a frequent experience, and we're looking forward to the next installment.
Well, us too, and thank you, sir. This is awesome.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malcolm. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Peter Scudamore and Robert Hendricks bringing us into this very powerful 2021 Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses. And there's a lot to learn and experience. Over to you.
The Time by Medical Disposables and Supplies Limited, an official distributor of 3M Healthcare Solutions, 83 Hagley Park Road, Kingston 10, is
3 minutes past 3 o'clock.
Sipa Copper.
Sipa Copper?
Yes, Sipa Copper.
Sipa Copper what?
Sipa Copper Ital Jamaican Moringa tea bags.
Sipa Copper Moringa, turmeric, vervine, neem, and guinea hen wheat tea bags today. Sipa Copper tea is available in supermarkets island-wide. So Sipa Copper today, you'll be happy you did.
Distributed by Caramed Group Limited.
I said the world is upside down, oh yeah. All right. Looking at the world, I agree. Oh, what fools we mortals be. Morality is in demise. Immorality is on the rise. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Too much injustice. How can there be peace? Religious hypocrisy, political tyranny. You see it, my brethren. What about the children now? Hey, they say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Let's give a listen to a bit of music to take us into this next segment.
You know that we need it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very significant segment with respect to all that's been happening, all those who have lost loved ones to COVID-19 over this past, where are we now? 16 going 17 months or so. Let's prepare ourselves for this segment. The National Chorale of Jamaica, a preview of the August 4 virtual church service and candle lighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it will be held under the theme celebrating the resilience and unity of the human spirit. And we'll be joining in lighting a candle across the world in memory of loved ones who have passed. It will be streamed live from the St. Teresa Roman Catholic Church in Vineyard Town, 4 o'clock on the afternoon of August 4, 2021. Guest of honor, His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General. But we're not the ones who are going to be giving you all the information, because Winston Hewitt has the details. He is musical director of the National Chorale of Jamaica. Good afternoon to you, Winston Hewitt. Thank you so much for your patience. Good to have you on both sides of the story this afternoon. Mr. Hewitt? I think we lost him for a moment there. We'll reconnect with Winston Hewitt in a moment, the musical director of the National Chorale of Jamaica, inviting all of us to a virtual church service and a candle lighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic, under the theme Celebrating the Resilience and Unity of the Human Spirit. Let's join Winston Hewitt now. Mr. Hewitt, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Thank you. Can you give us an idea of the background to this virtual church service and candle lighting ceremony? Is it a part of a global initiative, or this is a homegrown organic tribute?
I will have to say that it's homegrown and organic.
Mm-hmm.
A member of the chorale, Mr. McLean, Brenton McLean, lamented the fact that persons have been dying and their loved ones have not had the opportunity to say goodbye to them in a proper way. So he mentioned this at a meeting, and we felt it was fitting that we should have this service to, as it were, honor their lives. We know that it will not really replace the loss that they have had, but it would assist them in releasing some of those emotions. And so we felt it would have been fitting to do this. And then so it took momentum. And we thought of lighting a candle for the world and have the custodians light a candle for the persons in their parish who have died from COVID. So in fact, 15 candles will be lit, one by the Governor General for the people of the world, and the rest by the custodians for each parish. And
will that necessarily be done simultaneously?
No. As it were, I say everyone is going to have their day in court.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be done in an orderly fashion. First, the Governor General will light the candle, and then those in the parish of Middlesex, followed by
in the county of Middlesex.
Yes, in the county of Middlesex, and then then Cornwall, and then Surrey.
Mm-hmm.
And each one will come up individually when their names are called and light their candles.
It is a heartwarming gesture. It is an initiative, and I'm sure there are congregations all over Jamaica wishing that it would have been held at their church. Any particular reason why you chose St. Teresa Roman Catholic Church in Vineyard Town?
All right. Well, I must tell you that we normally rehearse at Christ Church and Vineyard Town, in Vineyard Town, and St. Teresa is just a stone's throw away. However, why we opted for St. Teresa was the fact that they recently installed a baptismal pool, and Catholics and Anglicans, they know the significance of christening, as we may call it, or baptism, as some people refer to it, from birth. As soon as babies are born, they are christened, and that symbolizes the beginning of life. And so the candles will be lit from the baptismal pool, and the individuals proceed to the altar, the foot of the altar, where a map of Jamaica will be placed, and so they will stick their candles in their respective parish.
And what about the service itself? Can you give us an idea, please, of how it will unfold?
Sure. There is an antiphon at the beginning of the service, and then after that antiphon, the chorale and the clergy will march to their respective positions. Thereafter, our vice chair will give a little speech as to why we're having this service. Then we have appropriate readings and suitable songs, which will express in words, so to speak, and music, the whole thing of life and life after death, etc., etc. And the service moves along in a very dignified way. There are verses before that are read before each segment where the candles are lit, and interspersed with songs. Now, during the lighting of the candles, I must say that there is a Negro spiritual. I stood on the river of Jordan, and we won't be actually singing the words, but it will be hummed while persons come up and light their candles. And at the end of it,
can you tell us about the end of it after the break, please? Listeners, if you're just tuning in, this is Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. We're previewing the National Chorale of Jamaica's virtual church service and candle lighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic, which will be held at 4 o'clock on the afternoon of Wednesday, the 4th of August. And Winston Hewitt has been filling us in that regard. You'll hear more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
See, you know, the real lockdown just a start for 30 days straight. Lockdown at Suzuki. The lowest prices on 2020 Suzukis in stock. Plus, every 2021 model pay no monthly payments but 3 months with Simpson Finance. Lock down your Suzuki for as low as 2.9 million. And check out all our Suzukis made for all roads in life. Like the Desire, Ciaz, Vitara, Baleno, Chimney, XL7, and Carry pickups. All with free service, Amber Tracker, premium tint, and 5 years warranty. It's lockdown time only at Suzuki. Visit us online at Suzuki Jamaica or our showrooms at South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Sherma Bay. Conditions apply.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. The National Chorale of Jamaica is in its 49th year, I believe, almost 50. Mr. Hewitt can tell us more on that in a moment. But listeners, the National Chorale of Jamaica is inviting us all to a virtual church service and a candle lighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic under the theme celebrating the resilience and unity of the human spirit. It's scheduled for, it will be streamed live from the St. Teresa Roman Catholic Church in Vineyard Town. and it's scheduled for Wednesday, the 4th of August at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The guest of honor, His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General. And right, so Winston Ewart was going through the program with us, giving us an idea of how it would flow. And then I think you were pretty close to the end, Mr. Ewart.
Yes. So I would say after the candle lighting ceremony, the chorale would burst into words in song when we sing "Shout Glory Hallelujah" when you see.
I'm sorry, we're losing you, Mr. Ewart. The signal is fluctuating. The quality has become inconsistent. Let's see if we can sharpen that. While we're working on that, listeners, we all will be able to experience this virtual church service. It will be, well, let's come back to that in a moment. Right, if you could repeat that bit from the point of the chorale bursting into song.
Yes, with these words, shout glory hallelujah when you see that ship sail by. Mm-hmm. So that would mark the end of that aspect of the service. Right. Then that is followed by two anthems. What sweeter music can we bring? And look at the world, where the chorale will be joined by children from Central Branch Primary School, Jeffrey Paul, and Excelsior Primary School. And that marks the end of that aspect of the service. Then we go into the national anthem, and then prayers are offered by the bishop.
But this already is sounding like quite an undertaking, and as much as the cause is of a humanitarian nature, there are certain cost considerations, I'm sure. How are you able to pull this together? Who are some of the corporate entities or partners who are on board for this virtual church service and candlelighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay, so far we have gotten sponsorship from Dervan, Jamaica National, Dovecot, and there are other. I'm not quite sure of the others just yet, but those are the main ones so far.
Yes, I'm seeing a bit of your flyer here suggesting CariMed Group being a part of that.
Group,
mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
the kind purchases of Dr. Christian.
Yes, and the Gleaner, and the Jamaica Observer.
Right.
And is this a law
and
firm?
Yourself?
Yes, Power 106 is indeed a member of the RGR Gleaner Communications Group, so it's all a part of the family. And I think also the law firm Archer Cummings on board as well. Now, the streaming, what are the streaming options? Because obviously COVID-19 and all, and who knows what stage we will be at come the 4th of August.
Right.
And so it's the streaming is important. So how can people prepare themselves?
You can join me on the service by joining our Facebook page, National Chorale of Jamaica Limited, and a Zoom number will be advised later this week, so that persons can join by Zoom, and they can also light their own candles when they do that and see projected on a screen in the church.
Oh, lovely. Mm-hmm. Yes, and it would be it's likely to be quite moving for a number of people, because boy, have we lost quite a number of people this year over the last 16 months or so due to COVID-19.
And as I said, whilst it does not bring full closure to those who have lost loved ones. It shows a measure of caring, and so, they know that they are not alone in going through this grief, but that others share their concern. Indeed, the whole world will share their own concern. And so we hope this helps to, as it were, soften the blow.
Yes, because it means as a part of the experience, I am also able to safely light a candle wherever I am while the service is streaming at the appropriate time.
Right. And it will be said in the service when they should light their candle.
Oh, yeah, that cue is going to be important. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how long do you see the program running for?
It shouldn't be longer than an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And what can you tell us with respect to, well, I mentioned earlier on, I'll perhaps give you the opportunity now, for those who perhaps are unfamiliar with the National Chorale of Jamaica, if you could give us some background, please. Is it 49? This is your 49th year, is it?
Yes. We were formed in 1972 by Carl Jeffrey Fairweather, who is now deceased. And we have had a few conductors before myself, Zybart Seaforth, great clarinetist, who taught at the Jamaica School of Music, and Maurice Gordon, a pianist who was conductor for a while, and then I took over. Mm-hmm. And I've been there now for over 20 years, directing, the activities of the chorale. But we could not do it alone. We have had very good sponsors in the past, and so we are able to keep on top of the music. We have 2 concerts, 2 major seasons per year, and we have about, before COVID, 20 concerts a year.
Oh, no. So from 20, you've dropped to what now? 0?
No, I wouldn't say quite 0, but the numbers are very, very low, very low, very low. And, a chorale or a choir isn't really formed to just be quiet. So know that the restrictions have been eased somewhat. We are, trying to do more. Yeah. And I'll give you a little heads up in that come Heroes Week, we are doing a program called Salute to the Heroes. And we're also thinking further than that. In Christmas, we have a program that's going to be called Christmas a Come. So, those are things to look forward to.
Definitely. But in the meantime, closer to the time, the 4th of August, listeners, please make a note of the date, Wednesday, the 4th of August, starting at 4 in the afternoon. The National Chorale of Jamaica inviting all of us to a virtual church service and a candle lighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. And as we've indicated, it's quite a few in terms of the loss of lives. I believe we're now at 1,167. And when you think of the connections those 1,167 people would have had in terms of family relations, work relations, it's extraordinary. And so it really, I commend you and the other members of the National Chorale team for bringing us, helping to and seeking to bring us to a place where we can all pause to honor the memory of our loved ones. Really is a fitting and timely tribute, and we look forward to being a part of the experience. In the meantime, as we said, though, we want to encourage our listeners at home and abroad to check out the YouTube and Facebook pages of the National Chorale of Jamaica. It should
to look out for that Zoom link, which we will be sending out shortly.
Right, and we'll be happy to share it once we have received it. I'm sure Maxine Brown will ensure that we get it.
Yes, I'm sure.
And
yes.
the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, PBCJ, will be carrying the service live as well. So
Yes,
so
they will be.
right. So all of us should be able to log on at home and abroad, one way or another, to be a part of this experience, because we have lost family members, friends, colleagues, neighbors at home and abroad. And we look forward to honoring their memory collectively on Wednesday, the 4th of August, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you so much, Winston Hewitt, for your work and service over these years, some 20 plus years and counting,
Yes,
leading the National Chorale. Congratulations to you. And
Thank you very much.
we look forward to a heartwarming experience on Wednesday, the 4th of August. All the best.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Every aspect of what we do on this and other programs on this station are all part of the rich tapestry of life in this country in all its forms. None is less than the other. It's all a part of the total being, and we always want to play our part when it comes to giving honor where honor is due and respect, and remembering those who are no longer with us, and also seeking to uplift the human spirit at the same time with hope, encouragement, empowerment, etc. Thank you very much for that segment. Let's get ready for the next segment here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. But first, another break right here, and then we'll come back with much more.
Looking at the world, I agree. Oh, what fools we mortals be.
You contribute directly to Jamaica's national development when you pay your customs duties. Let's all do our part in keeping the wheels of our economy turning. Time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. The National Irrigation Commission Limited encourages efficient irrigation practices and responsible use of water. By doing so, we will allow the aquifer to be recharged and keep the supply flowing. A message from the National Irrigation Commission Limited. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Tyranny, you see it, my brethren. Where are the children now? Hey, they say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Crime and violence, poverty and starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability. What's wrong with humanity? Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity? Where's the love now? You know that we need it, yeah. What about the love, 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 love? They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around. I say the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Alright. Looking at the world today, I am implored to say, so much war and poverty.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876 922 411225, 876 922 411225. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346, 876 365 3346. Can we pause to wish a very special listener a very happy birthday as we say good afternoon to Mrs. Dulcie Allen, the Chief Executive Officer of the Consumer Affairs Commission. No, it's not her birthday, but we know that it is her mom's birthday. Her mom is Mrs. Lily Parchment. Mrs. Lily Parchment, an ardent listener to this program. She's been listening from the days of Tony Leng, I believe. Long time. And she celebrates her 93rd, is it 93rd or 95th? No, I think it's 95th. Her 90, I'm having a difficulty here because the celebratory meme is saying 95th and the message itself is saying 93rd. I'm sure someone is going to help us. Oh, yes, it was corrected. It was corrected. So, Mrs. Lillian Parchment, happy 95th birthday. 95 not out. 95 not out. Happy 95th birthday to you, Mrs. Lily Parchment. Lillian Parchment, happy 95th birthday to you. And from everybody in Watchwell, St. Elizabeth, and everywhere else, all those who know of the connections, happy 95th birthday to Lillian Parchment, ardent listener to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Keep going, Miss Lily. You know what we always say? You're 95 not out. It means by now you are seeing the ball like a breadfruit, as big as a breadfruit. That's because you have spent time at the crease. You have spent time at the crease. So you know how the pitch is playing, whether it's keeping low or some balls are keeping low, whether it's pacey, bouncy, whether it is a case of whoever is bowling has been bowling a couple of some serious in swingers and out swingers and yorkers and googlies and slower deliveries. So by now you would have played a few of those deliveries and have a fair idea of what's happening or not happening. So you can comfortably play within the V, mid on, mid off, long on, long off, that general region. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to take another guard. You're 95 not out. So whether you want to take a leg stump guard or otherwise, mid stump guard, off stump guard, and don't go fishing outside the off stump, because by now you know where your wicket is, so to speak. And so you know the ones that you will leave alone, the ones that you will come forward to, play back to, the ones that you'll cut or drive or just drop right by your feet and run. It's over to you. You have it all to play for, as they say. Miss Lily. Happy birthday to you, Miss Lily, and all the very, very best. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Rascava is online, but we see Curtis trying to get in as well, but obviously he won't be able to at this time since Rascava got in ahead of him. So Curtis, you'll have to hang on a bit, please, while we listen to Rascava. Welcome, Rascava. Yes.
I also would love to give a shout out to Auntie Lily. She have a very interesting name, Parchment, and I know it's not because she parchment, but it's a very interesting name. And
well, I thought I didn't realize. I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were going to make reference to this thing in Jamaica that they talk about parchment paper and all these things and whose name on parchment paper. I thought that's where you were going to go.
I go so low with her. But, as the rightly said, she had the wicket long enough.
Yes.
And the ball big like a football.
Yes.
I think she could send a message or two to the West Indians in Australia how to play late cut. When they misread the ball, think it was short and it keep low.
Yes.
They make up a late cut. That's a very shot that no talk
yes,
about.
That's quite cheeky.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. You take his first slip hand and put it between him and the second slip. But full joy your day, mama. And let them do all the things for you that you want them to do. And you just relax and give thanks and teach them how to stay long and survive long in life. Because you have done it.
That's right.
Yeah. Not wanting to lose or learn every moment. What is wrong with saying each member of the members of the parishes in Middlesex will lay a wreath in remembrance
of the parishes in Middlesex?
Yeah.
I don't know of anything being wrong with that.
If I said of instead of if, would it be wrong?
If you say of
instead of if.
Well, where would you use if?
Instead of all the parishes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So the people of all the parishes. Why would you need to use if?
No, not if. Not from.
No.
From instead of.
No, you say people of the parishes of Middlesex are encouraged to light a candle or whatever the sentence is. The people of the parish.
So why did you correct the gentleman by saying county instead of parishes of Middlesex?
No, my impression is that he was speaking in terms of the counties. Cornwall, he said they would move from Cornwall, Middlesex, and then Surrey. Because at different points they would have been given a signal when to light the candles or something like that. So the correction didn't have to do with that. He said the parish of Middlesex or something to that effect. So
the parish of Middlesex.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to use to say a Carmel mix it up on story.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're going to be lighting a candle in remembrance of the persons who died from COVID.
Yeah, well, everybody's situation is different. So there are those who would have lost maybe a family member, a friend, etc. And the idea is to perhaps just light one candle in memory of those, if you want to light it in memory of those who you have lost as an individual, family members, friends, colleagues, etc. Or if you just want to, having not lost anybody, you just want to in solidarity, join the rest of Jamaica and indeed the world in honoring the memory of those we have lost collectively.
Not just from COVID, but we have lost.
Yes, yes. But although the event itself is really COVID-19 centered, based on the flyer that I was looking at earlier on, it speaks specifically to COVID-19. It says a virtual service and candle lighting ceremony in honor of lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, it could be, as it is written, it could mean all lives lost during the COVID-19 pandemic, not necessarily lives lost to COVID-19.
Thinking, so if that was the case, then they would have to be keep lighting it because people will still be dying from COVID. So how often will they do it?
Yes. Well, it's during the pandemic, so it's a pause. It's a pause in the middle of a pandemic to remember, to honor the memories of those we have lost.
And we'll be losing.
Well, I don't know if you would normally do that.
People will be dying anyway still. So it all look away. If they don't continue to do it, they must wait. Oh, so I'm going to some of them are going to want to remember.
But this would not have been the first. Maybe it's the first by the National Chorale of Jamaica, or organized by the National Chorale of Jamaica. But I've been a part of virtual events which have paid tribute to those we have lost.
Yeah, man, I'll read and put up name and plaques and all of that.
Yeah.
But give thanks, just to have something to say. Sometimes you don't have nothing to say, you just create something to say.
All right, Raskava. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story. Poro 106 FM. It's a Jamaican thing, isn't it? Sometimes you have to take bad something, make laugh. Or put another way, take kin teeth, kib a heart bun. Yeah, it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. When you see some of us laughing, it's not necessarily that kind of happiness we're feeling. It perhaps is just trying to come to grips with something terrible. One moment, please.
I am implored to say so much more and poverty.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
Have you ever wondered who can provide you and your company with unique investment products and wealth management opportunities? Wonder no more. Join Real Business with hosts Ralston Hyman and Dr. Andrew Sutherland from 9 to 10 a.m. this Friday, July 23, for a virtual broadcast focusing on investment opportunities, stock trading, pension fund management, repos, and more through QMax Wealth Management Limited in association with the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League. This live broadcast is brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible.
Your taxes hold the key.
Nobody come in line. Pay your taxes online.
So many options. You choose. Pay online at jamaicatax.gov.jm, TAJ mobile app, direct funds transfer, and NCB online banking.
It's safe, convenient, and secure.
Tax Administration Jamaica, changing the way we do business.
Hey, they said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. They said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Crime and violence, poverty and starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability. What's wrong with humanity? Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity? Well, at the love, love now? You know that we need it, yeah. What about the love, 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 love? They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is up.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. The email, both sides, 106@live.com. And let's go to a couple of the other messages that we need to clear. Solji in Massachusetts says, greetings, Sir D and everyone tuned into the program. Wishing all a blessed day. Thank you very much. Solji in Massachusetts. Cuban in Georgia. Good afternoon to you as well. Welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. All the very best. Take care. Cuban in Georgia. Good afternoon to Alexander Taylor. Alexander in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Welcome. Golden Brown, good afternoon. Sophia Nemard, hello to you too. And Velta Wilson, who is in St. Thomas, I believe. Hello to you, Velta Wilson. Nicola in Mandeville, Manchester. Good to have you on board. Thank you very much for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Earlier on, we started out giving you an update on some of the trending stories, as we like to do as the afternoon progresses, not wanting you to miss anything. A judge has ruled $150 million initially for victims in Florida condo collapse. You would have come across that story one way or another. As the remaining rubble from the collapse of a 12-story oceanfront condominium was cleared away yesterday, a Florida judge said victims and families who suffered losses will get a minimum of $150 million in compensation initially. That sum includes about $50 million in insurance on the Champlain Towers South Building. And I say Champlain because that's a French word, but they would have anglicized it. Being America, it would be Champlain. They'd perhaps say Champlain. But it's the Champlain Towers South Building, and at least $100 million in proceeds from the sale of the Surfside property where the structure once stood. That's the ruling by that, or that's the word coming out of that hearing from Miami-Dade Circuit Judge Michael Hansman. Policeman gets back gun license, firearm, following FLA revocation. That's another story. After a fight for more than 2 years, policeman Andrew Bobb, whose firearm license was revoked by the Firearms Licensing Authority, has had his permit and gun restored. And you can read more. You can read more of that story on the Gleaners online platform. We told you earlier on, COVID-19 suspends second ODI between West Indies and Australia. The second one-day international between West Indies and Australia has been suspended because of a positive case of COVID-19. The game was to bowl off at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados at 1:30 this afternoon, Jamaica time. All personnel inside the bubble have gone into isolation. And when we have further details, we will share the information with you. So those were just some of the stories. And you would have heard already that with an uptick in the transmission of COVID-19 cases, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says it is likely that a tightening of measures will be announced next Tuesday to reverse the steady increase in persons contracting the virus. Those are the stories trending on the Gleaners website. Let's see what the Jamaica Observer is telling us. British Airways resumes flight from Heathrow after more than 3 decades. Antigua and Barbuda welcomed the resumption of the British Airways flight route from London Heathrow on Wednesday, more than 30 years since the last service. What a thing. U.S. appoints senior career Foreign Service member as special envoy for Haiti. And U.S. sanctions Cuba defense minister for repressing protests. The United States imposed sanctions on Cuba's defense minister and an Interior Ministry division today for repressing peaceful protests, a step President Joe Biden said was just the beginning of punitive measures against Havana. It's the people who suffer, though. To say Havana, you would think, well, it's just the place. No, it's the people who will suffer. It's the people who will suffer. There's a new form of cricket. West Indians among participants in a new 100-ball cricket in England, a new format of cricket. So you have heard, when you thought you had heard them all. So we have Test cricket, we have one-day international cricket, we have T20 international cricket, we have 10-10 cricket. There's another one that was being played in the United Arab Emirates. I'm trying to remember what that one was called. Oh, goodness. And Chris Gale and Andre Russell and others were involved in that one. Can't remember that. But here comes another. It's a new format of cricket, which was heralded into the sport yesterday with the launch of the 100-ball cricket competition, the 100 in England. The organizers, England and Wales Cricket Board, ECB, are aiming to widen the appeal of cricket to families through the new format. Several West Indian players are jotted amongst the 8 teams in both the men's and women's tournaments, and they will be joined by international players across the world, all seeking to lift their teams to the August 21st final at Lord's and eventually the title. Among the West Indians participating are Sunil Narine, Carlos Brathwaite, and Stephanie Taylor. The competition will add to the other recognized formats of cricket that are Test, which is played over 5 days, the 50-over one-day internationals, and the recently introduced 2020, which involves each team bowling overs. There is also the regional 4-day cricket tournaments. This new cricket competition will be played over a 100-ball innings, with each innings lasting 65 minutes, with 2 sets of 5 deliveries being bowled before the end is changed. Each bowler, who has a maximum of 20 deliveries for an innings, can bowl 2 sets of 5 from a particular end or successive sets of 5. Well, this is going to take some getting used to. Reading the story to you is not necessarily going to help you to see it clearly. You perhaps would need to see it on a screen somewhere. And there's a difference in the use of the word innings. For cricket, it's 1 innings, 2 innings, 3, or second innings, first innings. And you say an innings, not an inning. It's different with baseball. In cricket, it's always innings. Innings, innings, innings. And let's see what else. IMF board approves big lending increase for poorest nations. That's another story. The IMF board announced today it had approved a massive increase in its ability to provide interest-free loans to low-income countries to help them recover from the pandemic's economic destruction. The COVID-19 crisis has drained resources set aside for these countries, most of which are in sub-Saharan Africa. The changes which the IMF board approved on the 14th of July include a 45% increase in the limits on normal lending and removes altogether the caps on access for the poorest countries. Let's see how that will go. The Reggae Boys have arrived in Texas for their quarterfinal clash with the USA. Let's see. When is this? This is in the Gold Cup. Is it on Sunday? I think the game is scheduled for Sunday. I'm trying to find it. Yes, indeed. It's the Reggae Boys will face the USA in their quarterfinal matchup at the AT&T Stadium in nearby Arlington on Sunday, while Costa Rica tackle Canada in the other contest, a doubleheader. So it's on Sunday. I thought I came across a bit of history in terms of the Reggae Boys. Maybe can lightning strike in the same place twice, or will it? Because back in 2015, 6 years ago, on this day in 2015, Jamaica's Reggae Boys shocked the United States with a 2-1 victory to advance to the final of the CONCACAF Gold Cup in Atlanta, Georgia. So the Reggae Boys have done it before, and we have no doubt they can do it again. In fact, they seem to be playing, I don't want to talk too soon, but much better, especially in that match against Costa Rica. Yes, they lost the match, but they actually dominated play, and it seems they now need to sharpen their technique in such a way and their approach that they can capitalize on having that kind of dominance against a team like Costa Rica. In fact, it was their attempt, that ball that bounced off the crossbar. It was that which spurred the subsequent goal and indeed goals. One moment, please. Goal. One moment.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Have you ever wondered who can provide you and your company with unique investment products and wealth management opportunities? Wonder no more. Join Real Business with hosts Ralston Hyman and Dr. Andrew Sutherland from 9 to 10 a.m. this Friday, July 23, for a virtual broadcast focusing on investment opportunities, stock trading, pension fund management, repos, and more through QMax Wealth Management Limited in association with the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League. This live broadcast is brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible.
Jamaicans and donors at home and abroad. The Jamaica Customs Agency is cognizant that the speedy clearance of humanitarian aid in times of disaster is crucial. Join us and other border regulatory agencies for a virtual public forum in our CCC series. Click, connect, and converse with Customs Thursday, July 29, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. under the theme JCA and BRAs, facilitating efficient and effective clearance during national disasters. That's a virtual public forum on clearing humanitarian aid, Thursday, July 29, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Visit www.jacustoms.gov.jm to register and to participate. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Have you ever wondered who can provide you and your company with unique investment products and wealth management opportunities? Wonder no more. Join Real Business with hosts Ralston Hyman and Dr. Andrew Sutherland from 9 to 10 a.m. this Friday, July 23, for a virtual broadcast focusing on investment opportunities, stock trading, pension fund management, repos, and more through QMax Wealth Management Limited in association with the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League. This live broadcast is brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible.
Ecological calamity, economic instability.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
And everyone listening. I did want to endorse what Balance was saying about Miss Parchment in coaching the West Indies team. But after hearing that, they have to really abandon the game for, the COVID problem. Then I don't want her to go again. I would never endorse it again.
Yes.
Yes. So, Malcolm, talking about Miss Allen, Dulcie Allen, her name?
Dulcie Allen, the Chief Executive Officer of the Consumer Affairs Commission.
Yes. I hope she could look into this matter with Flo. It cannot be, Mr. Malcolm, where you don't use your credit and you lose the credit. Last night, after when I went and buy some credit to really set a month plan on my phone, just was there and trying to really get the feature to really activate the plan. While I was there just for around 5 minutes, when I put it on, I hear that I don't have sufficient credit. I say yes, but I put on as much credit. When I check, $200 just gone in 5 minutes and I didn't use it. Yeah, Flo, they have to do so. I would like she to check out this thing. It cannot work, Mr. Malcolm. You don't use the credit or you lose it.
Well, the Consumer Affairs Commission has been very busy over the years, actually. Some people, well, maybe because it doesn't make the news for whatever reason, but they have been helping consumers who have had difficulties with the utilities. Utility companies. Not enough people are using up the service. I was listening to a story or reading a story somewhere recently that the Consumer Affairs Commission, most of the complaints were in the area of appliances, people who would have purchased appliances and had problems with them, and the CAC would have been able to help some of those customers. But the utilities, the number was even smaller for utilities. So it doesn't seem as if the consumers are utilizing the services of the Consumer Affairs Commission to deal with the public utility companies like Flo.
Well, I would like, after complaint like these and many more, I hear them all over the place. They have to take it up because I wouldn't have the time now to utilize that service to really get any compensation for my money that just gone down the jail and I didn't use it. I have 4 Flow chip and this month will be the last I'm a customer for Flow. I'm going to change it out for digital because it's the second time this happened to me. I buy once, I put on the credit, I didn't have as much. I said, well, I'm going to make it stay for the next month. Then I tap up and activate the plan. When I already did the next month, no credit on the phone. You don't use it, you shouldn't lose it. You don't use it, you shouldn't lose it.
Well, let's hope the new cell phone company that is supposed to come on stream sometime in the near future, that they are paying attention to the disgruntlement of current telecommunication subscribers, and that they will come with a system that will cause the other two telecoms companies to change their ways or risk losing more customers.
I have 4 Flow chip, and this month will be the last. As I finish this plan, this month will be the last customer. I will be the last of my customer of Flow. 2 times now it happened. I will never happen again. This is thiefness. You can't lose it. You don't use it. Oh, you must lose it and you don't use it.
It can't work. They have to really step this thing.
Well,
and continue the person starting the
we
complaint.
couldn't join you in accusing a company that is supposed to be a reputable company about that they're thieving, as you say. That's something you'd perhaps say on your veranda, but on public radio, I'm sure they would be able to tell you why this happened or didn't happen. Now, you can express your disgust at their policy, their system, their packages, their whatever they are putting forward. And if you want to test it, well, you have the Office of Utilities Regulation, and you also have the Consumer Affairs Commission. But to say that them thieving it, if that was the case, then the police would have to be called in, because then it would become a police matter.
Well, the police should call in and listen to Malcolm, but I didn't use it. And I lose it, so I didn't use it, so the police should call in. And I'm saying, Mr. Malcolm, when you hear about the Consumer Affairs Bureau and the next entity there, Mr. Malcolm, that busy around the place, we don't have any time to utilize this thing. So it's like they continue to do this thing, because I wouldn't have the time for
we can't be too busy to fight for our rights. We can't be too busy for that.
Mr. Malcolm,
part of the problem, though, is that while there is a guaranteed, a set of guaranteed standards for the JPS and the Water Commission, the JPS and the NWC, there is none for the telecommunications sector. I remember interviewing Elizabeth Bennett Marsh on this program when we were at, was it North Street? Might have been, or Bradley Avenue, long time ago, maybe North Street, long time ago. And when it was brought to our attention that there were no guaranteed standards for the telecoms companies in Jamaica, which is perhaps why they behave the way they have been behaving. But JPS and NWC have to follow certain standards. And when they fail, you get paid. The consumer gets paid when they fail. You get money. But we don't have that system with the telecoms companies. And I remember Elizabeth Bennett Marsh telling me in an interview, in her capacity as the public education, etc., communications person for the OUR, that they were looking to develop, they were working on developing a set of standards for telecoms. As my late mother would say, all no, Karana po. So that's a big part of the problem.
Yeah, that's a serious thing. That's why I wasn't with the thing when these two companies or one company was buying out all the assets of the rest of companies that was here. Because when you have more competition, you have the more persons who have to lift their standard.
Well, there's another one coming, as we have heard, another telecoms company coming. And let's see the impact that is likely to have. And hopefully they're paying attention. Hopefully they're doing their homework. Hopefully they're listening to callers like you and others who have complained about the seeming disappearance of credit, etc., so that they will, well, let's just hope that they are paying attention so that when they get into the market, the consumers will have yet another option.
Yeah. Mr. Malcolm.
But in the meantime, though, don't play down the importance of you taking a stance and sending the information to the Consumer Affairs Commission or the OUR to investigate whatever the problem you're having. Because that's why they're getting paid. A lot of them get paid quite handsomely, and we're not taking advantage of the services they're supposed to be providing.
But the thing is, Mr. Malcolm, I not even know where no office of those places located. I'm in Claremont. I don't know where no office of those.
Well, they have offices across the island, but the main office for the Consumer Affairs Commission is on Trafalgar Road, near to the PCJ auditorium. But as you said, you're in St. Anne. I'm sure if you go to their website or if you Google Consumer Affairs Commission or just CAC Jamaica, you should see where they have locations, where else in Jamaica. I'm sure they have an office in St. Anne.
Mr. Malcolm, to my knowledge, nobody's place. The places, all right, look at that one. Yes, Mr. Malcolm, and to a different matter. I would like you to really get like Mr. Evan Thompson or one of these meteorologists. And really, I would really try to really find out this fast flowing wind. What them describe it as again?
The low level jet stream.
Yes.
So you realize we've been experiencing windy conditions virtually every day.
Every day, Mr. Malcolm.
Right. So what it is, they tell us that it is a narrow band. You know what a band is? If you think of a band like a belt.
Yeah,
or any other sort, right? So it's narrow. It's a narrow band of fast flowing wind. So it's going very quickly, and it's taking place in the lower levels of the atmosphere. So it's closer than ever before. All that action is taking place not high up in the stratosphere, but a little lower, and that is what we've been feeling every day. So it's been with us for a little while now, actually.
Yes. So I don't know. I would like to really get some really explanation from them if it is attached to the whole climate change thing or what. But every day you have this
low level jet stream.
Yes. Because persons like us like that do farming. The advice is that you mustn't spray and breeze. From I wake up in the morning, breeze right from morning right to night.
Yeah.
so you continue to have this breeze continually. So I don't know if it is associated with the whole climate change thing or what.
Yeah, well, it's not new because again, it's a pocket of the pocket of pressure falls, or the how do you put this now? It's like you there is a thing called pressure. It has a general meaning, pressure. Then it's the pocket of pressure falls. So when the pressure falls, it causes low level southerly winds to speed up, to accelerate. And that is what then paves the way for what is called a low-level jet stream. And that low-level jet stream rapidly moves moisture northward and increases the low-level vertical wind shear. But maybe the meteorologists can explain it better, but that's how we understand it. One moment, please.
Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity?
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Jamaicans and donors at home and abroad. The Jamaica Customs Agency is cognizant that the speedy clearance of humanitarian aid in times of disaster is crucial. Join us and other border regulatory agencies for a virtual public forum in our CCC series. Click, connect, and converse with Customs. Thursday, July 29, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. under the theme JCA and BRAs, facilitating efficient and effective clearance during national disasters. That's a virtual public forum on clearing humanitarian aid, Thursday, July 29 from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Visit www.jacustoms.gov.jm to register and to participate. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call Wednesday evenings on Power 106 FM with Powering Your Health. Make your appointment. We will explore a variety of health issues and the ways to combat them. Let's talk about dieting, eating on a budget, alternative medicine, modern medical breakthroughs, mental health and wellness, and more. That's Powering Your Health with Dr. Jackie Campbell, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM. A fresh perspective on matters affecting your overall health and well-being.
Battling life's storm is never easy. Insurance can be a hassle. Axia Jamaica Limited is your calm within the storm. They partner with you to cover your life the way you envisioned it. Axia Insurance for home, motor, life, property, and more. Forging new partnerships. Axia Jamaica Insurance Agency. Telephone 876-978-5906 or 876-978-4569.
Become the hero on the scene by taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as you get all the facts. Don't listen to the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to sit face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safer for everybody, from the young to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally when things were more orderly? And if you want to live a long good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated along with the heroes on the front line.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
I saw the world is upside down.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:17. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:17. Sciences, TDN le, CDN, Sure Ba Fen. Time just changed from 17 to 18 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Have you done your homework yet? If yes, young people, we know it's the summer. We know it's holiday time, although quite a number of you still have to attend summer classes, which is a good thing to make up for some of that learning loss. You will not be able to make up for everything, but at least it will help you to keep your brain fresh and stimulated and get you prepared for whatever the new school year has to offer. We trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. Those of you sitting CSEC and CAPE exams, we hope you get the results that you work for. Nothing more, nothing less. And as we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Yes, Curtis, back with you on the lower level jet stream.
Yeah. You know, this whole climate change thing is serious, Mr. Malcolm. I know you hear the like scientific prediction, like by the year 23, like Kingston are gonna be among one of the hottest places on earth.
Can it get hotter? it's already so hot. Yes.
And so it will like be breaking record level like every year after.
Yes, there are all kinds of projections out there. It remains to be seen. For those of us who live long enough, we will be able to attest to whether those prognostications would have come to pass.
But you believe development caused some level of destruction also, Mr. Malcolm?
Somewhat?
Level of destruction.
What cause? You said something before that.
Development.
Well, we can't argue that point in a vacuum, but surely we have no doubt there is evidence globally, not least of all here in Jamaica, where what we call development has done more harm than good in as we said, all over the world, not least of all here in Jamaica. There's no question about that.
Well, what I'm looking at now, we're in like the whole level of development that's going on, or construction and these things, and we find out that enough of the forests and places like those, they are pushing them down to really construct.
Well, I am not aware of any mass pushing down of any forests anywhere. In fact, we still do a relatively good job of preserving our forestry right across the country. We have issues in some places, yes, and we have had issues in some places. But this is where public awareness is so key, because the more educated our population is, and we're not talking book learning. It's not about book learning. just that general level of awareness about what is right and what is wrong, what is likely to cause a negative as opposed to a positive impact on where we live, and the flora and the fauna, the forestry, the whole works. If people are sufficiently educated, it means in the event of a public or private sector action, or both, that is felt or is seen or is recognized as being as likely to pose a threat to lives and livelihoods, then by all means, the people have a duty to rise up in that respect and to make it clear in no uncertain terms that that is not going to happen, and you will as a people will not allow that to happen. So it depends on how high the awareness level is. If it's at a certain level, then surely people are there will be a pushback, which is what is supposed to happen. But I can't see, and as bad as things are in this country, we have the environmentalists who are very vocal, and just generally people who are aware of these things like you, who speak out about it, they write about it, they add their signatures to petitions in this country about it. And there have been some changes in that regard. There have been, if you check the history and just go into the archives, and you'll see where decisions, whether government or private sector entities, have had to step back. Remember Discovery Bay, that area? That is no longer happening. Now, whether that is a pause to come back again, or an indication that that area will be preserved, that remains to be seen. But on account of the outrage and the demonstrations and the calling of talk shows and publication of letters to the editor, etc., that situation there is on hold. Let's see what happens.
But over the years, Mr. Malcolm, those in authority would make many of us that don't really fully aware and knowledgeable to these things may look at Mrs. Diane McCauley and all those environmentalists look like they are enemy to development and things like that.
Well, anybody who thinks that way clearly is suffering from warped thinking, because people who look out for the environment are people who are looking out not just for themselves, but for all of us. We are a part of the environment, and if we destroy that which we're a part of, then we're destroying ourselves. And so anybody who thinks that way, something is wrong with them to think along those lines. You will always have a conflict between developers and environmentalists world over. But at the end of the day, the country must win, or the state, or wherever the situation is, must win. It must be the decision that is made must be in the best interest of the country and the people.
If you look at the whole Discover Bay, and remember a few years back the whole Goat Island issue, after when the environmentalists rise up and say, well, then this could be destructive for the environment. Then you find out that persons will get group of I don't know, I wouldn't say persons get group of persons, but I find out persons go and demonstrate and say, well, this is employment and all these things, which, it's just funny. Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's just keep up the advocacy. This is our country. We have a duty to play our part in protecting it.
Yes, the blessing, Mr. Malcolm, to be continued.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for the call. All the best.
You're welcome. Yes.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. We haven't been checking our messages in a while, so let's catch up. Or Jajo Karaza says, blessed love, Mr. Malcolm. To you too, or Jajo Karaza. Caroline Stanley says, pleasant good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Sending love from Toronto. Love to you too, Caroline Stanley. Angela in Toronto, Canada. A gentleman, I'm going to take the liberty and say a gentleman by the name of Dr. Sylvanus Thompson has asked us to say hi to you. And no doubt, all things being well, he will see you this weekend at the vaccination blitz. Not in Jamaica, before anybody start rushing to spread bed outside National Arena. Not Jamaica. A vaccination blitz at the Jamaican Canadian Association at 995 Arrow Road in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's the one we're talking about. Angela will be there, and Miss Tiny, and of course Dr. Thompson himself. But I had reason to engage in conversation this afternoon with Dr. Thompson, and he wants me to say hi to you, Angela, in Toronto, who no doubt no doubt you're wishing you were in Jamaica. Never mind, Angela. Sophia Nemard says some of these smartphones are smarter than us, using the credit, and we don't know. That is a point as well, Sophia Nemard. That's a point. And not all of us are savvy enough to configure our phones in such a way that they only eat credit when we feed them credit. And in other words, that they don't on their own eat off the credit. So it's a function of whether the apps and other settings on your phone are set to come alive once data is added, because you would have turned on the capacity of these apps and settings. Those would have been either preset, or you would have set them, whether inadvertently or knowingly, so that once the credit goes on, the apps and the settings say yum yum, food, before you even make a call, and then you wonder, where did the credit go? And therefore, what it points to is the need for the telecoms companies to educate. That should make a difference somewhat. Customers what to do so that the phone doesn't eat off the credit, so to speak. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Give your construction projects a solid start with top quality Jamaican-made building materials from Arc Manufacturing Limited. We deliver all your roofing nails, lumber, fencing, wire, and steel products island-wide. Call or visit any of our locations in Kingston and Montego Bay, or check out our website at www.arcja.com. Arc Manufacturing Limited, your building materials specialist.
Have they lost their sanity for the sake of
De hora es en español, son las 4:30. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:30. Scienza, TDN le, Wu Dian, Cha, R, Shi, Jiao, Fen. Time just changed. It was 4:30. It's now 29. The Mandarin reflecting that it's 29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to check in with more of your messages. Patricia Rowe, it's been a while. How have you been? Good afternoon, Patricia Rowe in Florida. Good to see you. we need to talk. I need to give you a call. It's been a long time, but it's quite refreshing to see you online, Patricia Rowe. William Graves says, okay, everything is... what's William Graves up to now? Thank you. Bye. Right. All right, William Graves, thank you very much for your message. And let's go to WhatsApp. Not WhatsApp. Let's go to Facebook Live. Diana McIntyre Pike says, good afternoon. We need to ask the government to create a pothole manhole fund to fix the many of them all over the island, which are causing great distress for all drivers, especially at nights, and even crashes and collisions. She has accidents, but those of us au fait with the road safety lexicon would know that we no longer use that word accidents. So even crashes and collisions when swerving away from them, as in potholes, also damaging tires and front ends. An assessment needs to be done to determine how much funds are needed first, and then launch the outreach to everyone, including our faithful diaspora. Food for thought. Thank you for your message, Diana McIntyre Pike. Donarine Morris Henry says, hi from Barbados. Hello from Barbados. Hello, Donarine Morris Henry in Barbados. She says, please wear a mask and stay virus free. I love Jamaica. Happy birthday to the Honorable Andrew Holness. Have a great day. Yes, indeed. Today is the Prime Minister's birthday. Happy birthday to the Prime Minister. Thank you, Donarine Morris Henry in Barbados, for your message. Let's see who else is online. Let's go to WhatsApp. Oh, we're getting some information here from Sandra Gibson. She says, my daughter, Jamaican professor at Yale University. Well, congratulations to your daughter, Sandra Gibson. Your daughter is Dr. Terika McCall. Dr. Terika McCall, TerikaMcCall. Congratulations to Dr. Terika McCall, whose PhD is in health informatics from Carolina. Would love to speak with her one of these days, Sandra Gibson. I'm sure you can arrange that. Thank you very much for that update. We like those kinds of updates as well. It's you feel like you're a part of a family, and you get updates from family members at different times, how the children are doing, how is the business, how is school, etc. That's the idea of this program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. It's the story of Jamaicans at home and abroad. So it means once we are on, we're engaging those at home and abroad at the same time, engaging in discussion. They can feel free to participate in any discussion that's happening at any time. That's the idea. It's like the family, the Jamaican family on the veranda, talking, reasoning, sharing. You get the picture. That's the idea. And we always want to make sure that we bring people into the loop. That's another thing that we try to do, the updates throughout the program, so that people can make the arrangements accordingly. There was a story. Where is it now? It happens so often. You plan to touch on a story or to make a point, and you have to move from one thing to the next, and then you lose that bit, and you are trying to retrieve it. Don't worry, we'll get back to it. Here we go. There's and you would have heard this one already, perhaps. It's I know the Observer has decided, hey, we're refreshing our page, and so we're taking down that story. But this was a story out of, let's see if we can It's a fungus. Oh gosh, where did it go? It's superbug fungus spread. There's a superbug fungus spread in 2 cities. US health officials said today they now have evidence of an untreatable, no, that's a frightening word, an untreatable fungus spreading in 2 hospitals and a nursing home. US health officials are saying that they now have evidence of an untreatable fungus spreading in 2 hospitals and a nursing home. The superbug outbreaks were reported in a Washington, D.C. nursing home and at 2 Dallas area hospitals. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is reporting a handful of the patients having invasive fungal infections. That means it doesn't stay on the outside, it enters invasive. That's what the word invasive means. So this fungus, sometimes human beings generally, we have some kind of rash or fungus, whatever, on the outside. Well, this one apparently seems to have invasive tendencies because a handful of patients had invasive, meaning it would have gone beyond the skin, invasive fungal infections that were impervious to all 3 major classes of medications. In other words, as we say in Jamaican parlance, I'm not taking a check from the medication. The medication is to them is like water off a duck's back. Now that's the frightening part, because it's untreatable. So how do you deal with it if it's untreatable? Let's read on. This is really the first time we've started seeing clustering of resistance in which patients seemed to be getting the infections from each other. That's the word from the CDC's Dr. Megan Lyman. The fungus, Candida auris, Candida auris, auris. The fungus, the scientific name is Candida auris. It's a harmful form of yeast. And the females would be familiar with some females would be familiar with yeast infection. But this is a harmful form of yeast that is considered dangerous to hospital and nursing home patients with serious medical problems. So it's not like, but just as how the COVID-19 strikes the openings of patients, so to speak, where there are vulnerabilities, like those who have comorbidities, heart problems, diabetes, hypertension, etc. It attacks. It attacks those conditions. It's a similar situation here, where this fungus, Candida auris, which is a harmful form of yeast, is considered dangerous to hospital and nursing home patients with serious medical problems. So again, that's the body. Once there are vulnerabilities within the body, viruses and fungi, etc., will jump in wherever there's some kind of a weakness. In other words, once these things realize that there's a part of your immune system that is vulnerable, they just jump right in and start to have a ball. So it is most deadly when it enters the bloodstream, heart, or brain. So when this fungus, Candida auris, Candida auris, 2 words, Candida auris, and I recognize the word candid in this, and we'll come back to that. Don't want to give you too much information where it then becomes confusing. But it's most deadly when it enters the bloodstream, heart, or brain. Outbreaks in healthcare facilities have been spurred when the fungus spread through patient contact or on contaminated surfaces. Health officials have sounded alarms for years about the superbug after seeing infections in which commonly used drugs had little effect. In 2019, doctors diagnosed 3 cases in New York that were also resistant to a class of drugs called echinocandins, echinocandins, that were considered a last line of defense. In those cases, there was no evidence the infections had spread from patient to patient. Scientists concluded the resistance to the drugs formed during treatment. The new cases did spread, the CDC concluded. And so this is one we might want to pay attention to as time goes by. Yeah, let's be mindful of these things. When it's not one thing, it's another. What a thing. Let's continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And the caller earlier on, Curtis, was talking about climate change. Here's another story, this one out of Brisbane, Australia. Great Barrier Reef's World Heritage status at risk after years of climate worsened damage to its vibrant corals. Australia's vast Great Barrier Reef could this week be added to UNESCO's list of endangered World Heritage sites, along with 6 other sites globally that are grappling with issues like ecological damage, overdevelopment, over-tourism. Are we listening to those terms? There is a thing called overdevelopment. There is a thing called over-tourism. And these can prove to be quite harmful to, and are already quite harmful to our environment. There are just so many things for us to contemplate on planet Earth. So many things. Right. What is this now on his birthday? My name easy to call. PM says he wasn't at party captured in viral video. So what's that? Fake news or doctored video? Apparently the Prime Minister is suggesting one of the two. Let's take the break and come back with more in a moment.
I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call Wednesday evenings on Power 106 FM with Powering Your Health. Make your appointment. We will explore a variety of health issues and the ways to combat them. Let's talk about dieting, eating on a budget, alternative medicine, modern medical breakthroughs, mental health and wellness, and more. That's Powering Your Health with Dr. Jackie Campbell, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM. A fresh perspective on matters affecting your overall health and well-being.
It's the summertime, and not only are our kids home, but with online school being mostly over, they are home and bored. But Bashco has great items to keep the kids busy while they are on summer vacation.
We have flashcards, activity books, coloring books, and great arts and crafts supplies to fit every need. And of course, toys! Yes, toys for girls and boys for both indoor and outdoor fun. So stop in and get what you and your kids need.
At Bashco, at 30 years, giving you more.
Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity? We like to love now. You know that we need it, yeah. What about the love?
Que hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 14. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5 heures moins 14. Tien sai, TDN le Wu Dian Cha Shi Si Fen. 14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? We asked the question already. We're asking it again. Are they where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's always a good time to check up on the children. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned in to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Raskava is back. What's happening, Raskava?
Another teach learn every moment as a reason. That terrible drug or virus, rather, candid that you speak of. What is the name? How it's spelled?
Let's go back to the story. Where is it now?
NDID.
Yeah, Candida auris.
Oh, the auris spell.
AURIS.
Oh, auris. I thought you said auris.
No,
but Candid. Candid is did. Candid. So, how it get to be? What how you pronounce it?
Candida.
Candida.
And it's a yeast-like parasitic fungus. That's what it is.
Yeah, but now I'm talking about the pronunciation. Why not Candida? When she had the idea Candid. Why Candida?
Because Candida.
Yeah, why is not Candida instead of Candida?
Candida.
It is Candida.
Yes.
All right, teacher. Thank you.
All right, take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Before time runs out, some milestones. Let's look at 1688. On this day in 1688, a report was submitted by Sir Thomas Powys, His Majesty's Attorney General. The report recommended the setting up of a post office in Jamaica under the control of the Earl of Rochester, the Postmaster General of Britain. That is not to say that we didn't have a post office in Jamaica at that time. In fact, in the year 1663, the then reigning monarch, King Charles II, instructed Thomas Lynch, Lieutenant Governor of Jamaica, to make all the necessary arrangements for the establishment of a post office in the island. The office was to be under the management of Daniel O'Neill, Postmaster General of London, to whom all accounts were to be sent. This royal action ensured for Jamaica the honor of being the first British colony to establish its own post office. Jamaica was the first British colony to establish its own post office. Nonetheless, it was not until 1670 when a gentleman from Port Royal complained to London, the Secretary of the General Post Office, GPO, that the conveyors of the mail were opening letters sent. So the business of people opening people's letters date way back from as early as when that we set up our own post office in Jamaica. To be precise, formally on the 31st of October, 1671. The 31st of October, 1671. Right, so there were some complaints that people were opening the letters and that any real action was, there was no real action was taken, and that they would have been roused to action by the letter. London at once requested the authorities here in Jamaica to take action and by order of the Council of Jamaica, which met at St. Diego de la Vega on September 21, 1671, the marshal was ordered to go on board every vessel and receive all letters, both from master and passengers. He was further instructed to make a list of all the letters received and to give receipts for them. For this service, he was empowered to charge a small fee of, it looks like threepence here, 3D, I think that's threepence. 3 pence, I believe so. Later that year, on October 31st, 1671, the council appointed one Gabriel Martin as postmaster of Jamaica, with instructions that he should create a post office both at Passage Fort and St. Jago. However, this was short-lived as Martin later disappeared. By 1673, there was again the need for a new postmaster. James Wales, merchant adventurer of London, whose ship, the James, had just been captured off Cartagena by French privateers, appeared. Wales also had close ties with the island, having used Jamaica as his base for much of his mercantile activity. He jumped at the opportunity offered to him in England to take over the post office in Jamaica. However, there was to be more trouble for the post office as Wales's fellow merchants and indeed the planters had no faith in his ability to run the enterprise. Thus, in 1688, the Duke of Albemarle, governor of Jamaica, ordered an investigation into the operations of the post office. That report was submitted on this day in 1688. Here's another bit of history, significant history too. 1692, the council, and it's quite instructive. 1692, you flip it, turn it around, and you can get from it 1962. Do a bit of flipping, and you get 1962, the year of our independence. Well, 1692 is the year we're talking about now. The council, a body which advises the governor of Jamaica, passed regulations approving the development of a new town, which is to be built at Hog Crawl, across the harbor from Port Royal, and which is to be called Kingston. The town is to be built to replace Port Royal, which was destroyed by an earthquake 2 months earlier in 1692. The council was presided over by its president, John White, and that council advised the governor, and they met on board a ship in the Kingston harbor and passed a resolution to buy 200 acres of land known as Hog Crawl, owned by Colonel William Beeston. That's why we have a place called Beeston Street in downtown Kingston. The purchase price was £1,000. Hog Crawl is being occupied, at the time was being occupied by panic-stricken residents of Port Royal, which was destroyed by that earthquake 17 days, well, some couple months before on June 7. About 17 days. The resolution which was passed read, there to be laid out 200 acres of Colonel William Beeston's land in the parish of St. Andrew, where the president and the rest of the gents or their majesty's council have appointed for the building of a new town. Hog Crawl is across the harbor from Port Royal. The council also gives Nicholas Laws, and that's why we have a street in downtown Kingston called Laws Street. The council also gives Nicholas Laws the task of laying out the streets of the new town. The passage of the regulations came a day after the Island Assembly created the town of Kingston on lands purchased from Beeston on a plan drawn up by John Goff. On the 16th of August, 1692, dispossessed Port Royal citizens met at the home of Mrs. Anne Lowder, Lowder. They met at the home of Mrs. Anne Lowder in Kingston to draw lots, which would have determined the allotments in the new town. In 1693, Kingston was declared a parish with Colonel Peter Beckford as the first custos, and that's why there's a street in downtown Kingston called Beckford Street. And Edward Yeamans was the first town clerk of the vestry. And do we have time for more? Maybe not. But there was a significant case in 1772 on this day, a significant ruling on this day in 1772, a court ruling. Granville Sharp took up a case of a slave, James Somerset, whose master lived in England. Somerset fell ill and was turned adrift by his master. With Sharp's help, Somerset recovered. On Somerset's recovery, his master claimed him. Sharp resisted the claim. The case finally went before Lord Mansfield, Chief Justice of England, who ruled on this day in 1972. I beg your pardon, in 1772. In his ruling, Lord Mansfield declared that the state of slavery is of such a nature that it is incapable of being introduced on any reasons, moral or political, but only by positive law. It's so odious that nothing can be suffered to support it but positive law. Whatever inconveniences, therefore, may follow from a decision, I cannot say this case is approved by the law of England, and therefore the black must be discharged. In other words, free the man, let him go. As a result of this ruling, all 10,000 slaves held in England at the time gained their freedom. Encouraged by the ruling, the abolitionists intensified their efforts. The Quakers formed an anti-slavery society and were joined, among others, by Granville Sharp, Thomas Clarkson, that's why we have a place called Clarksonville in St. Anne, and James Ramsey, a clergyman who had been in the West Indies for 19 years. There is just so much history, but so little time. The Bretton Woods, New Hampshire Conference created the International Monetary Fund on this day in 1944. Should we be wishing the IMF a happy birthday? The IMF was formed on this day in 1944. And I think we'll have to leave the others for another time. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Thursday, the 22nd of July, 2021. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
I said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I saw the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Crime and violence, poverty and starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability. What's wrong with humanity? Have they lost their sanity for the sake of vanity? We have to love now. You know that we need it, yeah. What about the love?
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News.